If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Good morning, I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
Rev, I've been asked this question repeatedly. Are the holidays over for the Jewish people this time of year? And I answer, well, there are two answers. Yes, for our people, the holidays are over. But now that they're over for our people, the holidays begin for the rabbis. Because they've had all these days of this arduous labor, and now they can relax just a bit. So it's a holiday for rabbis, non-holiday for others. And we have as our guests two very special people, or as you say, Christian Cultural Center Rev Hamish. They're very down to earth, and they do such good work. You know, if you pick up the newspapers and read the first few pages, you would think that around the world there's nothing but conflict. And then you read a story that took place here in New York, and you say, wow, that's a wow moment. And maybe there still is hope for us. I'm talking about Rabbi Larry Siebert, who's a good friend and the rabbi of the Town and Village Synagogue here in Manhattan, and then Detective Muhammad Aman, senior advisor to the mayor, Muslim advisor, and high-ranking Muslim official in the NYPD. They were able to do something that deserves much recognition and respect. So, Rabbi Siebert, let's begin with you. Tell us the story briefly.
It's really very brief. The Masjid, Medina Masjid, the mosque on 11th Street and 1st Avenue, it's around the corner from our synagogue, has been undergoing construction for a number of months. And back in early in the summer, they contacted me and said, we need a place to pray because we have no space, and we opened up our synagogue immediately for them to come for Juma with their Friday afternoon prayers. And they actually have two sessions, earlier and later, and hundreds of people pack into our social hall for their prayer services, and we're delighted to be able to host them and to have them.
Did you have a relationship with them prior to this?
Yes. For really, it goes back to 9/11 when the imam who was here then and Catholic priest down on 14th Street, the three of us got together and said we need to make sure that we bring our communities together in prayer and in thanksgiving for the friendship and the support that we can give each other, So since 9/11, we've been able to create the bonds and connections between our communities.
Rev?
Yeah, I'm just amazed. I mean, what's the groundwork that you have to go through? Is there some process? Do you have to, let your congregation know, Rabbi? Does the mosque have to let their people know? Is there a vote? How does it work on a practical level? Because you have two different
right. Well,
belief
basically, I called the president of the congregation. She said, let's just check in with the board. We asked all the board members, and everybody said yes. So it wasn't really a formal. It was very, very quick and very because we have an ongoing relationship with. There's a group called East Village Congregations that are we do an annual spiritual sounds concert, and a wide variety of religious institutions participate, including the masjid and our synagogue, and so there's an ongoing connection. We've had a number of years ago when Ramadan was over the summer, the imam at that point and I decided that we would hold a joint fast, because there's a Jewish fast day, the 17th of Tammuz, during the summer, and we held a joint fast for peace. It was after an incident that had happened in Israel where 2 boys had been kidnapped and killed, and the families in Israel reached out to each other. The Muslim and Jewish families reached out to one another, and communities reached out to one another, and they inspired us to also reach out to each other.
Yeah, the rabbi's being a little bit modest because he wanted this, and this congregation loves him. So the feeling was, our rabbi wants it, we all want it.
We see that speaks to the trust that they have for their leadership. I gave a simple explanation when we, as an independent, charismatic evangelical congregation, started doing food pantry along with the Latter-day Saints. And, there are those within, certain parts of Protestantism that don't recognize Latter-day Saints as a legitimate, Christian faith. And my congregation simply said, well, if you're doing this, we trust your leadership. Mm-hmm. And they all jumped in, and it's been a wonderful collaboration between the two faiths without us losing our identity or violating any of our doctrine or theology. That's why I asked.
It's all about relationships.
Yeah.
Now we have Detective Amen and senior Muslim advisor to the mayor, who I have to say, Rev, has been to more synagogues in New York than many Jews. I think then he goes to the mosque. He often tells people he speaks to me more often than to his imam. We're in communication on a regular basis. So let me ask you, what is it in you that inspires you to have this kind of outreach to different communities and try to bring people closer together?
Rabbi, thank you so much, Rev. Thank you so much for having me here. What we're witnessing here in the town and village synagogue really is the very heart of what New York stands for: compassion, respect, and the answer to is the shared humanity. That every time there's something happen at Korea, I'll call the Reverend and show that, when something happened like that, we have to help one another. When a synagogue opens its door to a Muslim congregation for Jummah prayer, the biggest prayer for Muslim, and actually 2 prayers, by the way, not only one, hundreds of worshipers coming in. It's just more than a hospitality. It's a declaration that our diversity is really our strength. And this is what the cities of faith and community can come together, not just a tolerance, but a true partnership, and collaboration.
It's one thing, there's, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that this is something that is common in the Northeast, but it is not so common in the rest of our country. This kind of interfaith cooperation and collaboration and dialogue, we've been modeling this, especially in New York City, because of our diversity, for a very long time. In your travels across the country, do you see it changing, gentlemen?
True, Rev. Medina Mosque and the town and village synagogue remind us that really unity is not just an ideal. It's something that we live every day in New York City. Sadly, a lot of people don't see that because sometimes good news doesn't sell. But we need to bring it up to show that there's hope. And if it's done here in New York, it can be done anywhere else.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at the history of this kind of development. For example, years ago, Detective, correct me, in the Bronx, there was a synagogue that needed space.
Sure.
And the mosque in the northeast section of the Bronx, the mosque there opened its doors to the synagogue. Years ago, when there was a fire at Central Synagogue, the cardinal said, we're opening the doors of our houses of worship for you. Whatever is good for you. So it's good to hear, but it's not the only time it's happened here. And as you say, Rev, it's not exceptional here, whereas in other parts of the country, it may be an exception.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we have more discussion with Rabbi Larry Siebert, Town and Village Synagogue, Detective Mohammed Amen, Senior Muslim Advisor to the Mayor. Stay tuned.
We'll be right back with more of the Rev and the Rabbi.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The following is a paid political announcement.
Lifelong Democrat Diana Florence served for 25 years as a Manhattan prosecutor under DA Robert Morgenthau. She put criminals away, stood up for victims, and protected our streets. Now, Diana is challenging failed Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg as an independent because it's time for a DA who fights for our families, not criminals. That's why Diana has won the support of organized labor like the steamfitters, plumbers, and ironworkers, everyday New Yorkers who want a DA they can trust. Manhattan needs a DA who will do the job, prosecute crime. That's Diana Florence. Under Alvin Bragg, crime is up and prosecutions are down. Bragg doesn't prosecute crime. He plays partisan politics. Bragg failed to protect women and failed to protect workers. As a prosecutor, Diana Florence won groundbreaking convictions, fighting against corruption, domestic violence, wage theft, and daily working conditions. She's always been a partner of unions, community groups, and to cops like us. For Manhattan District Attorney, vote for Diana Florence. Diana4DA.com. Paid for by Diana for Manhattan DA.
Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
This episode is brought to you by CBS. DMV is a brand new workplace comedy turning misery into magic and chaos into comedy. Starring Harriet Dyer and Tim Meadows, DMV is here to serve you laughs. Watch Mondays at 8:30, 7:30 Central on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
This episode is brought to you by Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus has movies. So many movies. The movies you've seen 1,000 times and could watch 1,000 more. Iconic movies your friends can't believe you haven't seen. New movies, classic movies, new takes on classic movies. So whether you're into Top Gun or The Naked Gun, Mean Girls or Mission Impossible, Smurfs or Sonic the Hedgehog, there's a mountain of movies to discover on Paramount Plus. Start streaming today.
The Rev and the Rabbi. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
And we are speaking with two very special people, Rabbi Larry Siebert, spiritual leader of the Town and Village Synagogue in Manhattan, and Detective Mohammed Amen, senior Muslim advisor to the mayor, talking about a mosque finding a temporary home in a synagogue. And some people say, wow, that's unique. But as I mentioned earlier, it's happened before in this area. And very often, as the Rev will often talk about relationships, it's all about relationships.
Yeah.
So, Detective Amen, you traveled back and forth to Egypt. I think you've been to Saudi Arabia. You've been to Israel a number of times. Given what's happening now over there, do you see a story like this having any impact at all? Or is it something to say, well, that happens there, but it can't happen here?
No, I do think that if, we are part of the world, and community here see that collaboration like that can be mimicked, can be copied, can be done somewhere else. We have learned that when we open our doors to one another, we open our heart as well. This partnership reminds us that our secret spaces, whether it's mosques, synagogue, churches, it just all exists to bring people closer to the Creator and to each other. But the lesson learned here that, doesn't mean that we erase our difference. It means we honor them while finding the value we share. Peace, mercy, and dignity, and we are human. So as neighbor, and we show that we are at such a time when there's even a time of turmoil that we can be for each other's shelter. We could do it somewhere else. And I think we are the beacon of hope in New York City, and people should look at what we've been doing for years and years as a copy that can be done somewhere else.
Yeah.
Rabbi Sieber, can you speak to the fact, and then I'd love to have you, Detective Muhammad, chime in on this. It takes a certain level of spiritual maturity and spiritual security to engage in this kind of relationship building. You can't be insecure in your own faith in order to sit down and have dialogue and interaction and collaboration with someone of another faith. Can you two speak to that?
Certainly, the ability to feel comfortable in oneself, and I don't feel that another faith community is any kind of is going to encroach or a threat, God forbid, any a spiritual threat, because we as our own as a community have our own space and our hearts are in our own faith traditions. So I think having that makes the exchange richer. It makes it a more and it makes it more collaborative, I think, because everyone is coming from a place of strength and security. So you are absolutely correct that is an important element.
Detective?
Rev, amazing question, and we had this conversation many times. I'm a firm believer that when you are close to God and worship Him in the best way and manner, that you have to love mankind. You don't look to anyone different than you. You always look at the humanity and how we can help one another. When you uplift your spirituality that way, that you have to work with everyone. You see the weakness and in someone as a chance for you to extend your hand to help. And time again, we've been seeing and witnessing this in New York City, before COVID, during COVID, and after. Faith community come to help and rescue one another. We did see it in the most elevated things when the fire in the Bronx happened, and it happened to be from a Muslim, African Muslim, and all New Yorkers from every faith came down to help, regardless of this individual. So we don't look at people's faith, color, or background, but we look at them as a human being who need help.
That's so important, because that is foundational to Christian social ethic. The Imago Dei, the image of God that's stamped on every human being, before there are any differentiating factors involved. And I think that's very, very important. Has there been any media or public criticism about this collaboration relationship?
There, I don't. Until Detective Amin stepped in, there hadn't been really any.
I understand that, and he was. He was the critic.
One thing.
You mean he was the critic?
To what you were saying about that the spiritual foundation is exactly what you said, which is Tselem Elohim in Hebrew, which is God created the first human beings in God's image, and that everyone is descended from those first human beings. So we are all brothers and sisters. We all relate. We're all part of the same humanity, and if we can remember that, it takes us a long way to building and creating a more peaceful society.
Rabbi, I want to ask you, I understand leaders of the respective congregations come together. Does it filter down to young people? Do they have a chance to have dialogue, have a chance to know each other? Because if we don't reach them, then,
right.
Where are we going?
Right. Detective Amin was actually very critical to trying to make this happen. He's actually pushed me a number of different times to create some programs that will bring our young people in together. And we've done it once or twice. We've done it a few times. And I was thinking about it the other day, and thinking that it's time for us to get together and do this again.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Town and Village has a committee, T&V Together, I think it's called, and it's expressly to do interfaith work and social action partnerships, correct?
Yes. T&V Together is part of Manhattan Together, which is part of Metro IAF, which is community organizing, a group that works on finding practical solutions through creating partnerships with politicians, with city institutions that will help to further make people's lives better. I mean, we've done a lot of actually interestingly a lot of work with NYCHA to improve housing and to get money for fixing up apartments. The broader organization has done a lot in terms of creating housing that's affordable housing, and so yes, we are part of that, and that brings us into partnership with many faith communities.
You know, go ahead, Rev.
Well, you follow up, Detective. I present the same question to you. Is there internal willingness, evidenced by infrastructure, to collaborate from the mosque with other faiths?
So, yeah, definitely. And we've been pushing also through the administration with Breaking Bread Building Bond with the mayor, which is basically bringing groups to sit down and break bread together. And the mosque has, especially during Ramadan, very open to this. As a rabbi, been always a pillar of attending and having the synagogue part of that. That's why we came to this today, because of this investment in relation. So long-term relation, it does pay. And the mosque, the congregation and the management been there since the 70s. They've been there for a long time. And have them breaking bread with other faith groups, one of the best things that we could ever do, especially with the youth. They know about each other. Nowadays, when you go to this services on Friday and you see youth walking into the mosque and walking into the synagogue, believe me, it's a scene people need to see. I never seen this in my life. Not only that they let them attending the synagogue, but they give them the facility, the bathrooms. They give them all the tools to do a prayer with dignity and respect. I wish the whole world can see something like that. I can't thank the rabbi enough for this.
So how do you respond to people who ask you the following question? It's very moving, it's very meaningful what you do. And then you look at the papers and you read about the increase in hate crimes. So how do we reconcile that we have a community that's loving and we have so many others who are hateful? At first, it shows that we have a great responsibility. We have much more work to do. But I don't have an answer.
So, Rabbi, I defer to you back. You remember when every time we have an attack on the mosque, you would be the first, the rabbi and the reverend and many of our religious leaders come in front of the mosque to support. Because we've always been saying that the soil that produces hatred to one group does it for the others. And showing that we have standing here in unity as simply one New York is the answer to this. We have to show solidarity, and we all should be against bad action. At the time of tension, uncertainty, we need to choose compassion over hate. If a woman from the Jewish leaders, Jewish community, been attacked, we need to show this from the Muslim females to come in standing in solidarity. I think keep pushing that we're here together on that. It's very important. Adding that, I want to let you know that the NYPD have one of the most active and unique unit, which is Hate Crime Task Force, who designated to arrest and investigate hate crime in New York City.
Right. We have 30 seconds left. Rabbi, Anything you want to add?
I'm deeply appreciative of Detective Amin's work to bring community together and to help us, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share what is, I believe, and sincerely is a deep message of hope when people can come together, when people can work together and pray together, really.
Even if we don't change others, they're not changing us, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen. For being on the program.
Thank you for having
We
us.
need models of love and cooperation, moral responsibility. We need that. I mean, 24-hour news cycle gives us enough of the bad news, right? So we need other news, good news, some good news, like we say in our Christian faith. So we're going to go to another break here. You're listening to the Rev and the Rabbi right here on Red Apple Radio Networks. We'll be right back.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, Chad. Today you're gonna drive the all-electric Toyota BZ.
But my electric vehicle phobia. I'm not ready, Dr. Ross.
I believe in you.
Oh my gosh. We're inside it.
Try to take deep breaths, okay?
The ventilated seats, they're touching me.
You can do this, Chad. Drive the car. How do you feel, Chad?
I feel cured. Woohoo! I'm doing it! I'm doing it!
The all-electric BZ. One drive can change your mind. Toyota. Let's go places.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton. For this day.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock has tips to protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report phishing, and update the software on your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, let LifeLock alert you to suspicious uses of your personal information. LifeLock also fixes identity theft, guaranteed or your money back. Stay smart, safe, and protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Smart Water Alkaline with antioxidant.
Whoa, that's refreshing.
And a 9.5 plus pH for every way you move.
I did take a spin class today.
Restoring like a pro. Smart Water Alkaline with antioxidant. For those with a taste for taste. Grab yours today.
The Rev and the Rabbi. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potasnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard.
Reverend, we have with us now one of our favorite former members of Congress, the Honorable Peter King, represented Nassau County with distinction, then was elevated to America's congressman, and now he's an international figure talking about issues that impact all of us everywhere. Congressman, we wanted to pay you for this appearance because we know that you're high priced.
The
government shutdown said that your remuneration will not permit it, so we had to stop right there. Congressman, let's begin by this. Everybody is taking what's happening.
I'm not talking to you. That's the only reason I come on. I was looking for your book.
In the Middle East. What is it in President Trump's persona that somehow is able to achieve what others haven't? Is there something very unique there that he got it done when others couldn't get it done?
Yeah, it's certainly something unique. I don't know if I can precisely define it, but basically it's coming on very strong, just going ahead, saying he's not afraid of the consequences. He's going to get it done. When you think of in the past of all the negotiations that went on, and there were some successful ones with Jimmy Carter and Sadat and Begin, and then later on with the Abraham Accords with President Trump. But the fact is, this is the furthest anyone has ever gone as far as, first of all, getting the hostages back. That in itself is a victory. It takes, apart from the human factor, which is the most important, it also takes away whatever fine leverage that Hamas had. And I don't think anyone really expected for Hamas to turn over the hostages before there was any agreement on anything else. So that was done, and that was a tremendous achievement. And also, right now, by going so far, we are, I think, on the verge of at least having real negotiations to bring about a lasting settlement. Now, what some of the specific actions he did, I think, when he bombed Iran, when he actually went in and carried out the bombing missions against the nuclear facilities in Iran, I don't think anyone ever expects that to happen. We've been talking about it for 20 years, but no president seriously considered doing it. And so President Trump did it. He did it. It was over in one night, and it was an overwhelming success. I think the other Arab nations saw that, and they basically have told Hamas that they are not going to support Hamas at all going forward, and they're going to actually oppose them unless Hamas quickly gives in here, at least as far as giving the hostages back and making commitments. So I would say it was a combination of, probably the main thing was that he was able to, if you will, intimidate the Arab nations or impress the Arab nations or force them to respect us, knowing that he is willing to do what no other president was willing to do, and that's to actually attack Iran, and the fact that Iran didn't respond.
Yeah. He doesn't equivocate. That's true. Good.
Right. Can we attach the word unpredictability to that? The fact that he would do something like that, it sends a message that, you can't predict through the normal operations what this president will or will not do. I think that puts people on edge, and it serves notice, wouldn't you say, Congressman?
Yes, and I would say in a less intelligent way of saying it, which is what I'm going to do, is President Nixon used to quote Syngman Rhee in Korea. He said, "It's always better if your opponent thinks you're a little crazy." And I think Donald Trump is using it to his benefit. Plus, also, I find it interesting that with all of the great diplomats we've had over the years, we've had some really exceptional diplomats. The guys who brought about the deal were three real estate guys from New York. I mean, Trump was
I have to tell you, I speak to friends in Israel, and without hesitation, they will tell you, as many will tell you, President Trump has been a great friend of the people of Israel. He's never, I use the word equivocated, never equivocated. He's been very public, very proud of his relationship with the people of Israel, and they've been very public and proud of their appreciation of that relationship. So when you watched all of the people coming out and applauding him, and the hostages who said, "Without you, we wouldn't be here," it was very moving and very meaningful. So I just want to make sure that we all say thank you.
He really deserves tremendous credit for this. And no matter what happens going forward, even if it ended today, it's a very, very significant victory. I mean, Hamas has been crushed like never before. The hostages are back, and there was no basically concessions by the United States. And it puts us in a position, but the American people have to realize, too, it's not going to be easy going forward. For instance, how do you disarm Hamas? Because right now, the IDF is pulled back, so Hamas has a region for itself, and if they don't give up their weapons voluntarily, then you have to go in and take them back. And that could lead to a more resumption of fighting. But again, Hamas may realize if they're not going to be supported by the other Arab states, then they are basically not going to be able to carry this forward. It's just basically signing a suicide pact. Also, they have to come up with a transitional government. How do you find? It was very difficult to do it in Iraq. Trying to put together a coalition government or a transitional government or a new government. And so you have to try and get together a number of individuals in Gaza who are not connected to Hamas or not directly connected. I'm sure there's going to be some connections, no matter what. Even in Germany after World War II, there were still some people, with Nazi affiliations. You can't completely cleanse that out. But the thing is, keep Hamas in a distinct minority, and then also to rebuild it economically. So a lot has to be done, and it could be it'll be unfortunate if the American people start losing interest after a few months. If there is any even limited amount of resumed fighting with Hamas, people say, "Oh, we're back to where we were." Or if there's not a transition government formed right away, okay, it's time for us to get out. or if as far as the rebuilding, it's going to cost money, just like the Marshall Plan did after World War II. But that's what basically cemented our victory over there, was by having a rebuilt Germany and then also a rebuilt Japan. So the American people have to realize that we're in this for the long haul. It's not just Israel's benefit, it's to America's benefit, and that it's not going to be easy, and we can't just be saying, we can't be spending money on this, we can't be doing that. We are the greatest country in the world, which also attaches great responsibilities.
So with that being said, let's talk about it, and I'd like to hear from both of you gentlemen. A two-state solution. What are your thoughts?
Congressman?
Yes, I would say, first of all, the idea of a two-state solution would make sense. I don't know how it would be implemented. And in effect, Gaza did have more than semi-independence for all those years. I mean, it was Hamas, and the people in Gaza elected Hamas, and Hamas is the one who kept the war going. It started the war with Israel, and they were doing it all those years. It's hard to set up a two-state if the other state is predetermined to destroy you. I mean, basically, Hamas's credo is to destroy Israel. If you can somehow set up a government, a second state, which you can be guaranteed and have a certain period of time that it is not weaponized. It's not going to have weapons to use against Israel. Its government and it's going to be subject to supervision. That's something that could be considered going forward. I think that's what the agreement provides for. But right now, just to say two states, basically they had that, and they had the opportunity all those years from 2005 on, and they elected Hamas, and Hamas was committed to destroying Israel.
Yeah.
So it's hard for Israel to agree to set up a state which is committed to destroying us.
There's a story, Rev, of a minister who allegedly loved, he really loved kids coming to church. And one day, some of the kids got mischievous, and they put there was a new concrete walk near the church, and the kids put their feet in there and their hands in there, and the minister came out, heard about it, and he started cursing at them. And someone said, "Sir, you love kids. Why are you talking that way?" He said, "I love them in the abstract, but not in the concrete." And I think, I think in the abstract, it's a wonderful concept. But in the concrete, when you have this glorification of death, as opposed to the glorification of life, a clash of culture, a clash of thinking, it's very hard to speak realistically at this point of a two-state solution. But who knows? We've seen miracles before. We depend on miracles, they say in Israel. We don't just believe in them, we depend on them. Who would have thought Sadat would go to Israel? Who would have thought, you'd have peace agreements with different countries? Who would have thought you'd have the Abrahamic Accords? So the question is, who would have thought? And maybe we'll see it. But given a group that cheers when innocent people are slaughtered, and by the way, many of them cheered when their own people were being slaughtered, not just Jews. As we saw innocent people, being killed the other day, Hamas, and by the way, no protesters. I didn't see any protesters here. So we have to wait a while. We got a lot more to do before we get to that question of the separate state. Well, let's come back with more of the Rev the Rabbi.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
Introducing Meta Ray-Ban Display, the world's most advanced AI glasses. With a full color display built into the lens of the glasses, it's there when you need it and gone when you don't. Send and receive messages, translate or caption live conversations, collaborate with Meta AI, and more. Be one of the first to try Meta Ray-Ban Display. Visit meta.com/Meta Ray-Ban Display to book a demo and find your pair.
You don't technically need this car. You say that out loud to yourself. You say, I have no space. You say, I'm just looking. Then you click. Then you zoom in on photo number 87 and whisper, "Oh no." Then you text a friend, the one who always enables you. You say to yourself, "This is the last one," knowing it is not. You don't need this car. But maybe, just maybe, this car needs you. Bring a trailer. It's never just a car.
This episode is brought to you by Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 is the ultimate all-out warfare experience. Rip through the skies in aerial dogfights. Demolish your surroundings for a strategic advantage. Harness complete control over every action and movement using the kinesthetic combat system. Drop into multiplayer with your squad, or fight furiously as a member of the Dagger 1-3 squad in a gritty, adrenaline-fueled single-player campaign where you'll defend a world on the edge of collapse.
The Rev and the Rabbi on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
But they said she was having a funeral there because she considered herself Jewish.
Oh, well, by the way, that's, you know what?
I knew exactly what that meant. I hadn't heard that being a...
That's interesting.
Congressman, you should know that in the prison system in the state of New York, state is ruled. If a person declares, "I'm Jewish," or whatever the faith is, that's it. You are now listed as the denomination you declared, because the court has said, I think it was a Goodman case, we're not going to enter into the heart and mind of another person. If he says it, it's good enough for us. So you can
change it.
Look, you go on the airline. I want kosher food. Wait a minute, your name is Peter King. What kind of kosher food? I want kosher food.
Change up. But, I made a mistake. I want to be Muslim here.
Now, by the way, you have to stick with that declaration for 1 year. After that, you can declare something else.
You can change. Okay.
Okay, now are you comparing Temple Emmanuel to the prison system?
Let me tell you. But she had no connection to Temple Emmanuel. There was nothing. But
nobody really knew she was Jewish.
Anybody?
Apparently, even her daughter explained it. But then, as the daughter spoke, and that was at the beginning about how she apparently they had a great grandfather who was Jewish or something. I don't know. But then she was talking about one of the highlights they had this later on in the talk was how much they enjoyed Christmas morning.
With bagels and lox, that's how they integrated the Jewish part. But
I thought it was Chinese food. Okay.
They probably thought the rate was less at Temple Emmanuel. If you say you're Jewish, the rental rate would be less.
But it was a beautiful ceremony, I got to say. It was really well done. Really
all right, let's come back. Come on,
Rev, you come back with a question, all right?
Yeah. Are we going to switch topics?
I think we've exhausted that, right?
Let's go to government shutdown.
Welcome back. I'm sorry. Ready?
Yep, let's go.
All right. Welcome back. I'm Rabbi Joseph Potosnik.
And I'm Reverend A.R. Bernard. Rabbi, before we run out of time again, we've got to talk about the government shutdown. The last time, and it was the longest, it was under the Trump administration, 35 days, and here we are again. Congressman, how do you respond?
Well, first of all, I think I have a pretty good record on this. I've always been opposed to government shutdowns. I think that's not our job. I mean, you're down there, your job is to get the job done, not to shut the government down. And I was against it when the Republicans did it to Newt Gingrich back in 2005 and 2000. Did it when Newt Gingrich did it to Bill Clinton back in 2005 and 2006. Then when we did it to John Boehner, did it to Biden in the I guess 2011 it was. This to me is madness. It is absolutely wrong. It was wrong when President Trump did it in 2018 and 2019. It was a 35-day shutdown. This time it's basically the Democrats that are calling it. At that time when we called, Republicans had the shutdowns, it's because they were fighting at something that was going forward, that was going to be in the budget, something they wanted in the budget, and so they were holding up the budget until it was in there. This is about trying to change last year's budget before we go forward with negotiations on the next one. And so basically what the Republicans have said, let's leave everything the way it is, we'll negotiate it, and it'll still have to be approved sometime, and that's when if the Democrats want to do a shutdown then, fine. But there's no current item on the table that the Democrats are shutting the government down for. They want to bring back something that was resolved last year, and that's on the issue of the Obamacare subsidies. Now, I think that as a practical matter, that can be negotiated, but you can't do it under the specter of the government being kept closed until it's done. So That's this one I blame on the Democrats. Having said all that, the blame game is one thing. I wish they could be, while all the public posturing is going on, to have meetings going on behind the scenes between the top people in both parties or people who are respected in both parties, going back and forth to try to get some kind of a settlement on this. I think Obamacare does have to be changed in a number of ways. On the other hand, there are people right now who are committed to it, and you can't have them falling between the cracks. So what we should do is do it, but do it in an intelligent way, not with the gun being held to your head that the government's going to be shut down unless it's done a certain way.
So, Congressman, you said before that people want leaders in Congress to make the government more effective. They want them to work on behalf of the people. There's a disconnect because some of them go down to Washington and they relish the idea of just fighting with one another, finding no ability to compromise. How does that make it better for the people, for the government?
It doesn't make it better for the people at all. And part of the difference between now and previous years when there was enough public pressure to force the government to reopen, right now government is being run by social media, or politics is being run by social media. And the Democrats, right now, their base is telling them to stop Trump any way they can, at any time they can, and not to give in. I mean, look at all the abuse that Chuck Schumer caused when he did vote to keep the government open back in March. And the Democratic base is going after him tremendously. I've seen some of that in the Republican Party, but which so far has not manifested itself as much on this issue as on others. But sides get dug in on this, and they get driven by social media. I'm saying there should be a compromise. If there is a compromise, though, social media is going to go nuts. Both sides are going to have their bases calling them sellouts. Republicans will be rhinos. Democrats will be people caving into Trump. And so both sides are under tremendous pressure. I just wish somebody could step forward. And again, I put most of the blame for this one on the Democrats. It's been Republicans in the past. This one is on Democrats. But again, it's time for adults in both parties to step up.
Well, let me ask you a question, Congressman, because, federal employees end up suffering along with many, many others. And in 2019, there was the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act, and it was to somehow, alleviate the fact that they are going without employment. So retroactive pay once the government reopens, is that still in place? And are there other things to protect the employees when Congress decides that they're just at an impasse?
My understanding was that it is still in place. Apparently, people in the Trump administration are saying it's not. I'm concerned legally that they are entitled to back pay when it comes about, and if it's not, it'll certainly end up in court. But I don't see. To me, it's unfair to make innocent workers, the victims of this. I mean, there's talk about having collateral damage or whatever. I mean, they have nothing to do with it. A guy, if he's out there working in a department, working in the agriculture department, working in Health and Human Services, working in the Labor Department, working in the State Department, he's doing the job. Why should they lose their salary when they haven't done anything? They haven't done anything wrong at all. It's just they are being used as pawns, and that to me is unfair. And I would say a warning to Republicans is we have made tremendous inroads the last few years politically in showing that we are on the side of the average working person. That was probably a key in the last election. Democrats had lost touch with many of just rank and file people, and that had been their base. It was now becoming, Republicans are making real inroads there. We're going to end up losing that if we just think that workers can be dispatched because they're part of a larger debate going on. Like, for instance, if Republicans say this department helps Democrats, well, maybe you could say a certain department is, the laws it has to carry out are more democratic laws, or more laws passed by Democrats. That doesn't mean the employee out there, the civil service worker who's working every day, is somehow an agent of the Democratic Party any more than somebody working in the Defense Department is automatically an agent of the Republican Party. Yeah. Workers are innocent; they have nothing to do with this. They're not calling a strike. They're not doing causing any problems at all. The problem is being imposed on them. So, no, that's wrong. They have to get paid.
Congressman, before I let you go, my dad was a Democrat, proud Democrat. He wouldn't recognize the Democratic Party today. He would never think that, for example, a mayoral candidate could run and dismiss, deny basic tenets of Jewish tradition, the peoplehood of Israel, the Jewish people of Israel, and win a primary. It's the transformation is shocking. What do you think?
No, it is. It's shocking. And, you think of it, Jesse Jackson was slaughtered in the New York primaries because of one off-the-cuff remark he had made about the Jewish community, which he thought was funny 5 years before.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that one quote came up, and he couldn't get out from under it. I mean, Tommy's making remarks every day about Jews, about police. I mean, he's gone on, and somehow he's surviving them all. I don't know what that's about. What's happening to our city? I mean, whoever would thought that New York City, which has more Jews than any city in the world, that has the best police force in the world, that they would both be targets of the man who's going to be elected the next mayor.
Yeah.
And it costs money. I was reading that the Congressional Budget Office, they analyzed these things, and the 2018 to 2019 shutdown, they said it reduced the GDP by $11 billion. And portions of that loss was permanent. It costs a lot of money that we end up carrying, as taxpayers, the burden of. Yeah. Congressman?
It makes no sense to playing a game and the only losers end up becoming the American people and innocent workers. If it turns out that they don't get paid, they are really innocent victims here, and it does go against the entire spirit of the American government.
Congressman, we come to the end of the program. I just want to tell you, you remind me of former Mayor Ed Koch, because even when he left office, he was highly regarded, highly respected, he was revered. And I think the same can be said of you.
I'm glad you clarified that.
No.
I'm glad you clarified
No, because I knew Ed Koch well, and I could say
he was a character.
Yeah,
come on.
I'm not going to use it. Ed Koch. You are an Ed Koch in the best possible way, and we're very proud to know you.
He was a great friend, and that's a great honor you can give me. And maybe I'll start considering myself Jewish after that.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We have to let me weigh in on that before you go that route. I got to see the pluses and minuses of that for the Jewish people. I think you would be elected, by the way, in Israel. They love you, and they still love you here in America. So wherever you go, okay. I went to Israel with you. I saw the reaction there.
Yeah, I saw you also run away with the rocket.
Yeah. You told me you had a bad leg, and when that missiles flew in, you left me with David Patterson, and you ran to the shelter. Oh, you were like the road runner. I remember that. All right. Thank you so much.
Congressman, always a pleasure having you on the program. All the best to you. Thank you. And to you, our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Dynamic Duo, the Rev and the Rabbi, right here on Red Apple Radio Network. Till next time, God bless.
Congressman, you there?
Yeah, I am here. And just so you know, as we were speaking, I got a text message.
Thanks for listening to The Rev and the Rabbi. You can hear The Rev and the Rabbi Sunday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.